Hello and welcome to this video on using and applying your ratio knowledge. If you haven't already done so, I strongly recommend that you watch the video called Ratio the Basics before you look at this video. Example 1. In a class, the ratio of girls to boys is 2 to 3. If there are 12 girls, how many boys are there? So what I strongly recommend that you do in every single ratio question is you write it out. So if it says girls to boys, that is the ratio. Girls to boys, okay, in the ratio 2 to 3, okay, write this out. It says if there are 12 girls, how many boys are there? So immediately they tell me 12 girls, I'm going to write 12 underneath where it says girls, okay, 2 to 3. Okay, so for girls, there's 12 girls. How many boys are there? So in other words, we're trying to find out how many boys there are. Well, what you need to ask yourself is what's that 2 been multiplied by to get to 12? The answer there is 6. It's been multiplied by 6. So whatever you do to one side, you must do to the other. So 3 multiplied by 6 is 18. Okay, so there are 18 boys. Example 2. In a school, the ratio of boys to girls is 4 to 5. If there are 300 girls, how many boys are there? So just like we did in the last question, read the question. If it says boys to girls, that's what you write down. Boys to girls. 4 to 5. This time it says if there are 300 girls, how many boys are there? So there's 300 girls. So I'm going to put 300 under this side, okay? And this is what they are asking for. So now my question is, what have I multiplied 5 by to get to 300? Well, I know that 5 multiplied by 6 gives me 30, so therefore it must be 5 multiplied by 60 to give me 300. And then whatever you do to one side, you must do to the other. So I've got to multiply that by 60, and 4 6s are 24, so 4 lots of 60 must be 240. So there are 240 boys. Example 3. In a field, the ratio of sheep to cows is 5 to 2. So sheep to cows, 5 to 2. If there are 18 cows, how many sheep are there? So 18 cows, put that underneath cows. What have I multiplied 2 by to get 18? I've multiplied it by 9, so I do the same to the other side. 5 9s are 45. 45 sheep. Example 4. A football team win, lose and draw matches in the ratio 2 to 1 to 3. If they draw 9 matches, how many matches did they win? So it sounds confusing, but just lay it out. So win, to lose, to draw is 2 to 1 to 3. If they draw 9 matches, so immediately I've got to put 9 under the draw bit there, okay? The question just says to me, how many matches did they win? So actually, we only need to find out this, okay? How do we do that? Well, we look at what 3 has been multiplied by to give me 9. The answer to that is 3, which means this must also have been multiplied by 3. And 2 3s are 6. So they won 6 matches. Example 5. In a box of chocolates, milk, dark and white chocolates are in the ratio 4 to 2 to 3. If there are 10 dark chocolates, how many chocolates are there altogether? Okay, slightly different question now. So milk to dark to white are in the ratio 4 to 2 to 3. If there are 10 dark chocolates, how many chocolates are there altogether? So there are 10 dark, and now I'm asked how many altogether. So I am actually going to need to figure out this number and this number. Okay, well, what has 2 been multiplied by? It's been multiplied by 5, which means everything must be multiplied by 5. Okay, so that's been multiplied by 5, and that's been multiplied by 5. So we get the answers 20 here, because 4 times 5 is 20. And we get the answer 15 here, because 3 times 5 is 15. But now, if I'm asked for it all together, I need to add this number plus this number plus this number. And if you add those all together, you get that the total number of chocolates altogether is 45. So 45 chocolates altogether. Example 6, slightly different question now. In a flower bed, the ratio of tulips to roses is 5 to 3. If there are 10 more tulips than roses, how many roses are there? Okay, slightly different question now. So, but I'm going to apply the same rules. So if I read that the ratio of tulips to roses is 5 to 3, then tulips to roses is 5 to 3. Okay, so that means that these 5 boxes represent tulips and these 3 boxes represent roses. Okay, 5 boxes for tulips, 3 boxes for roses. Now, it's crucial that you draw boxes for this type of question. Now, the question says here, if there are 10 more tulips than roses, how many roses are there? So if there are 10 more tulips, well, you need to look at the boxes. How many more boxes are there for tulips than roses? Well, hopefully you can see that there are just 2 more boxes for tulips, because look, here's a box, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So there are 2 more boxes for tulips than there are roses, which means these 2 boxes must represent those 10 extra tulips. So what does that mean is in each box? Well, each of those boxes is 5, because if the 2 boxes represent 10, then 1 box represents 5. And that means that in every single box, there is 5, okay? So in every single one of these boxes now, just getting rid of my ticks, in every single one of those boxes, there's a 5. So my question then, the final part of the question is, how many roses are there? Well, how many roses are there? There are 5, 10, 15 roses. Example 7. The catering team are making sandwiches for a school trip. They make ham and cheese sandwiches in the ratio 4 to 1. If they make 36 more ham sandwiches than cheese, how many sandwiches do they make all together? Okay, so we've got ham and cheese in the ratio. So ham and cheese sandwiches in the ratio 4 to 1. So imagine these 4 boxes are your ham sandwiches and this 1 box is the cheese sandwiches. Okay, it says if they make 36 more ham sandwiches than cheese, how many sandwiches do they make altogether? Well, how many more boxes are there for ham than there are for cheese? There's 3 more boxes, because there's 1 box and there's 1 box for ham, 1 box for cheese, which means there's 3 more boxes spare for ham than there are for cheese. Which means that those 3 boxes represent that 36. Okay, so those 3 boxes represent that 36, which means there's 12 in each of those 3 boxes. And if there's 12 in those boxes, there must be 12 in all the boxes. And the final part of the question says, how many sandwiches do they make all together? Which means I'm going to do 5 lots of 12 because I've got 5 boxes, which means they made 60 sandwiches altogether. Example 8. In a maths textbook, algebra, number and data topics are in the ratio 4 to 3 to 5. If there are 6 more data topics than number topics, how many algebra topics are there in the book? Okay, so let's have a look at this. So we've got, in the textbook, we've got algebra, number and data topics in the ratio 4 to 3 to 5. If there are 6 more data topics, I'm just going to actually colour coordinate these. So these are your 4 algebra topics. These are your 3 number topics. And these are your 5 data topics. If there are 6 more data topics than number topics, how many algebra topics are there? So let's have a look. We've got 3 boxes for number, 1, 2, 3, and if I tick 3 boxes for data, it means that these 2 boxes here represent those 6 more. Okay, they represent those 6 more, which means there are 3 in each box. And if there's 3 in each box, then there's 3 in all the boxes. Okay, all those boxes have then got 3 in them. And the question says, how many algebra topics are there? Sorry, I mislabeled that. That was actually meant to be an A. A for algebra. How many algebra topics are there? Well, there are 4 lots of 3, so there are 12 algebra topics. 12 algebra topics. Okay, here are some questions for you to have a go at yourself. So pause the video now, have a go at these questions, and resume the video when you're ready to see the answers. And here are the answers. Well done, family, go those.